Hi, Kelly Ray.
Hi.
No, microphone's over there.
Hello.
You have to talk to me.
I was looking at the camera.
Welcome to episode number 18 of Business Can Be Better, the vodcast and the podcast. We're starting to get some subscribers on the YouTube side of things.
We are.
We do have subscribers for sure on the
Nice.
podcast side of things, which we're still catching up on posting those. But on YouTube, people should, I think maybe if they're listening to this and not watching this, then they need a reminder of where to find us, which is bit.ly/Better Business Podcast. bit.ly/Better Business Podcast. And then they can get to our YouTube channel and subscribe, and then they will know when we go live at 7:15 on Tuesdays, Mountain Time.
Then we can have someone join our number one fan, Jocelyn.
Yeah, we have more fans.
We do
these
love
days.
you, Jocelyn.
And every time we assume it's her, she tells me later that she actually wasn't watching. So it is other people.
So we have one real fan.
Other people.
It's totally my husband.
Yeah, could be. And we're going to talk about knowing your numbers today,
yes.
which is a bit of a vague title, but we'll tell you more about what that actually means.
Yeah, knowing your business numbers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just thought we could have a really good chat about, from my point of view, it'll probably be much different than your point of view on the numbers that, if you could only look at 10 numbers, in a month, what would those be, sort of thing? Because I know a lot of business owners, when I start to, we forgot what's new.
Oh, yeah, we'll do that,
Do we really
too.
have to do that? Does anyone really care what's new?
They do. That's what they
Okay.
come here for.
Okay, what's
They
new?
don't care about business. They just want to talk to us.
What's new with you?
What's new with me? I did a keynote last week at the university at the Dillon School of Business, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I like speaking a lot lately,
Hmm.
and especially keynotes. Like I do a lot of seminars, a lot of teaching, and they're fun, and you just vomit out all your knowledge and hope people can soak up a little bit of it. But keynotes are so different because it's storytelling and maybe your perspective on the industry or trends or right? There's like kind of a theme and you're talking to something. It's not just
Yeah.
teaching. And you have to entertain people because they didn't come there to learn. They came there to get motivated or it's different. Keynotes are different. And so I enjoy those and I think it went well. I somehow refrained from coughing because I've been coughing so
That's
much
impressive.
lately. It was because I was still coughing all that day and after, but somehow I got through the hour without. So I'm not sure
impressive.
how, but it went well. Told a bit about my story and a bit about the art and the science of marketing is what we talked about.
Cool.
To mostly a lot of students, marketing students at the Dillon School of Business, also some faculty and also some industry people. It wasn't
Cool.
very big. There's 60 or 70 people or something, but
That's really cool.
I enjoy those a lot.
I would really like to get into more public speaking, but I'm not sure that I could. When I teach a class, even a small class, I'm always so nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I get through it though.
Yeah,
I mean.
but practice.
Yeah.
It's crazy actually how much prep goes into it though, because they're like, come and do this talk. It's 45 minutes, and it's no problem. And I spent probably 6 hours prepping my 45 minutes. So it's no wonder if anyone's looking to hire keynote speakers, don't scoff at the price they give you because there's a lot more involved than the hour they stand on stage.
Good to know.
Yeah. What's new with you?
See, I was really listening to you. I wasn't
Oh,
trying
you were
to think
supposed
of
to be
my own
thinking.
quick tip.
Well, that's
I'm a good friend.
That's good listening.
It's almost Christmas.
Oh, I was just talking to my mom today saying it doesn't feel like Christmas at all.
What? There's little snowflakes all the time out there.
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it
Well,
yet.
you know what? You should do what I did. Well, you don't have a husband, but you should do this yourself.
Okay.
But my husband put up a Christmas tree
Mhm.
and lights and Christmas lights outside, and I have a Christmas tree in my office because I was feeling blue and I asked
that
for some
fixed it?
Christmas. So he Christmased our house
Nice.
out.
We're going to
So-
go away for Christmas, so we barely have anything.
Where?
Well, just to my dad's out in Manitoba, but
Oh,
yeah, exciting out to
are you gonna
Manitoba.
drive out there?
We are.
Do they get the most snow?
Possibly. I've never been. He's only moved there a year or two ago. I've never been out there to where he lives now.
I'm so sorry. I'm not bored of you.
You've
I
had
just
a
did not
long
get a
and
good
hard
sleep.
day.
Yeah, no, I think it was a lack of sleep actually. And also, I wanted to tell you what else is new with
Oh,
me.
yes.
I took an excerpt from your email about how I should be on my videos.
Okay.
And I taped it in my desk drawer. So every time I open my drawer, I see it. Get
What,
reminded.
what's the excerpt?
How I need to be authentic, generous, vulnerable, and real on my videos.
Okay.
And so I just recorded what I think was probably the best video I've ever done. It was like
Okay.
10 minutes long by accident.
By
But
accident.
I just wanted you to know that that's what happened right before I came over
When
here.
do we get to see that?
Whenever Laura gets the words on
Okay.
and
Gets those
posts it.
words on.
Probably soon then.
Okay. 10 minutes
It's
on
going to be
Facebook?
called My Mental Meltdown and How to Avoid One of Your Own. Yeah, we'll put it on Facebook. Yeah.
Hot tip, bonus content everyone can look for.
Everyone.
'Kay.
Everyone.
How do we know your numbers? How do you know your numbers? I feel like I can speak to the marketing numbers, but everything else I'm awful at.
Well, why don't you start
I'm here
with
to
that?
learn.
Tell us about the marketing numbers.
The marketing numbers. I had someone ask, actually someone that was at the keynote, another marketer or kind of a marketing student and part-time marketer, who asked a question on LinkedIn because he didn't ask at the event, but he wanted to ask anyways. And he was asking about something to do with knowing your numbers. And so I had an answer for him, and I kind of crafted my thoughts about this around that, because he was saying, how do I know, like, what numbers do I need to look at? How do I know how to evaluate a new campaign?
On
Is it
LinkedIn?
working? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question.
So I have a new campaign I'm doing on social media or something. How do I know when it's working and when it's not, and when I should give up, or when I just need to have more patience and let it catch on? Or like, how do you figure that stuff out? And so in my response, I think I have an idea that ties into this, which is that it's more about the ratios of things, or the rate of things happening, rather than like the bulk volume number. So it's not about like getting 100 likes. It's about the fact that you only got 2, but your post only reached 50 people. So that's actually pretty good. It's more about like
likes out of 50.
It's more like the rate at which
Ratios.
things are happening rather than the volume. So people are concerned about like, oh, I only have 600 visitors to my website this month. And it's not necessarily about the volume. It's what happens, like what rate are things happening at. So if you have, say it's an e-commerce store, like if you're converting 8% of those people, well, that's good, because now we can scale that up. And so even running lead ads, right? Like if we're trying to run lead ads, like, oh, we only got 22 leads this month. Well, if we only spent $200, well, we're doing okay. That's, $9 a lead. That's scalable. We can build that up. So it's more about, it's not the bulk number, which I think everyone's looking at the volume, just like what's the gross number kind of thing. And it's more like figure out the rate at which things are happening to decide whether or not it's going in the right direction. Because it might be. As much as it looks like a tiny number, if it's a tiny number out of a small number, it still might be okay.
Yeah, I really like how you tell people not to get caught up with vanity metrics.
Mm-hmm.
I've really, really started to see that be true, especially with like, we're doing the Rotary page, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the videos and pictures that we posted, did you see the cute little old couple dancing with their pink crowns on? Oh, anyways, some of the posts, so we have like 500 and some likes on the page now, and some of our videos are getting like 3,000 views.
Yeah.
So that's great, right?
Yeah, it's great.
So
Really
the ratio of like views to followers, if you only have 500 and some followers, and what is it, 600%?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's
So
a
that's
lot.
good. Yes, we still don't have that many followers, but we're getting seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. And that's why that full follower number, like to pay attention to that and say we want the most amount of numbers, it's going to make it harder to find success, because now your rate, like, it has to be higher. Like if you get 10 likes out of 100, well, if you have 1,000 followers, now you need 100 likes. So good luck with that.
Yeah.
Like keeping it small makes it easier to find success. So you find the success at the small number before you start trying to build it up. And we've found that with the few social accounts we manage that we were lucky enough to start from the beginning, either it's a brand new business or a business that's just starting a new account or something where we got to build that account from nothing. Those are the most successful accounts, because we really have never focused on building the following. We just let it happen. And so it's only high quality followers, and our reach is still, averaging more than 100% reach and like very high levels of engagement, because it's never about getting the volume of numbers up. It's more on what rate are people liking and and engaging and everything.
Yeah, I don't know if people really fully understand if they're not like an online marketing genius, but you're saying that if you have 100 followers
Mm-hmm.
and you have 100 views on your post, that's crazy. That's good.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
Facebook now barely shows any organic posts to anyone because only paid stuff gets shown, right? So if you're getting the amount of people who you have following you seeing your posts or more, that's really, really good.
It is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the more that you increase the number of people following you, the harder it is going to be to say you're getting good results, because now you have to get that many more people to see your content. So that's, I don't know, that's an idea about when you're looking at your numbers, not to be thinking about what's the volume, like what's the number of visitors to my website, what's the number of followers I have, what's the dollar amount sold on my store. It's not that. It's the rate at which that's happening. Because if you have a great conversion rate or a great margin or a great whatever it is that's a rate, now it's scalable. Like if you're getting leads for a gym at $6 a piece, if you only got 6 this month, yeah, that kind of sucks. But now you've established that you can get them at $6 a piece. You could probably put more budget behind them and get 100 leads at $6 a piece. Maybe it'll go up to 7, but I mean, you need to establish success with a low number, and it's about the rate, not the volume. All right, I think I've stated that enough times.
I think that's good.
Good.
So also, is there anything else you want to speak to? I didn't write down any online numbers because I thought that you would cover those, like anything about like click-through rates or like conversion rates or like
I mean, there's just not enough
or
like standards across the board numbers to really share anything meaningful. Like people say conversion pages or, landing pages should have a, 35% conversion rate is great. Some are getting more like 20%, but then some people will hold themselves to extremely high standards who are really good at it, who will say, no, 50% is the minimum, which would be an awesome conversion. I don't know. There's all these numbers, but like, it's just so dependent on so many factors that's pretty hard to speak to in a general way.
Okay. Well, I have lots of stuff here, so.
Okay. At some point I want to talk about profit first too.
I knew you would. So I prepared myself for that.
All right.
So financials, of course, are going to be one of the most important numbers that you're going to look at in your business. And just the basics, like knowing your revenue, the income that you have coming in, your cost of goods sold, so the cost of the things you have to buy to make the sales, your gross profit, which is your revenue minus your COGS, then your overhead expenses, and your net profit, so the bottom line. And I know if you're watching this and you have good knowledge of your financials, you're probably like, this is so boring, this is so basic, but it is so scary, the number of business owners that come into my office and don't know what a profit and loss statement is. So you have to know these things. You have to ask your accountant to explain your financial statements to you, and you have to look at them every month. Because if you don't, you can't increase them. Oh no. Are you going to oppose me on this one?
No, I'm just getting shamed over here.
Go ahead.
Not looking at them every month.
So Profit First is a book.
A
unique way of...
Okay, so Profit First is... There is a trend, as you've stated, of business owners, like business owning, entrepreneurship is a creative enterprise to me. I feel like there's definitely like very just number crunch driven business owners who get into it. No, but I saw your post.
You're the
you didn't.
I'm the integrator.
Devin posted about it today.
Oh, okay.
So we've talked about it at the office. So there is those types who are very just like, I'm in it for profit and it's all about the numbers, and there are accounting minded people who start businesses and are very successful at it and are probably weaker in other areas. And I feel like a lot of the entrepreneurs, or at least the ones that I know, are very much more like the creatives and the visionaries who are not extremely enthralled with looking at their accounting and their bookkeeping. So with that in mind, I think a lot of business owners, it's a common trend that people don't log into their bookkeeping. Like if you use QuickBooks or something, you're not logging in monthly and you're not paying that close of attention. And so,
but you should.
Absolutely, it's knowledge you need to have.
It.
And a lot, the more common practice is that people log into their bank account and they look at the cash, and that is how they form some sort of impression about what things are happening. This is how much cash I have. I know vaguely that this is what my payroll costs, this is what my lease costs. This is my revenue. You have some ideas from your bank account, and that is a more common way that business owners approach it. This is not saying it's the right way of doing it.
Jump in for 1 second
Do
here.
it.
If you do that,
Yes.
you have no idea how much net profit you have or how
Yeah.
much tax you owe the government. So please don't just check your bank account.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you.
So that's not a statement of which you should do, but it's just a statement of reality as far as this is what is common. This is what people are doing.
It's
right?
an admission of guilt is what it is.
It is. And so Profit First is a book. Oh, I should have pulled the author because I can't remember his name, but I read this. My accountant gave it to me actually.
Michalowicz?
Might be it.
I'll look it up for you.
It's it acknowledges that bank account accounting, bank balance accounting is kind of what a lot of business owners use, and so it tries to modify Mike Michalowicz maybe. It uses bank account balance accounting and tries to modify it so that it gives you more of the information you need to know, which is what's your profit margin, what are your expenses, what do you owe the government, all that stuff. So it modifies a bank account to have some of those important numbers. So it says, take your bank account balance, set up a whole bunch of savings accounts. They should all be free. You go in there. Banks are becoming more familiar with this. They've probably set it up for other people. And so I only have 4 accounts. I have income, expenses, profit, and tax government money that doesn't belong to me. That's what I have. So everything comes into the income account. 2 times a month, I take that and I split it by preset percentages about where it needs to go. So I forget because I have to look at my notebook every time because we adjust it. So we keep trying to like bump up how much profit I can take out of my business. But the idea is it's profit first. You take that out first. So if you're like, no, I need to make 12% profit, you look at your income and you pull the profit out. And then you take what you owe the government, that needs to come out. So you take that percentage out, and then what you're left with is expenses. So now you have to run your business with what's left in expenses, because the other way that people do it is profit comes last. So you pay the government, then you use up your expenses, and then what's left over is your profit. Well, the thing is, it's the tube of toothpaste analogy. You will use all of your expenses and not leave yourself profit. It's like you have a full tube of toothpaste, you will put a big glob on your toothbrush. When you get down to that last little bit, you will wring that thing out for a month before you go buy a new tube. So you're like, oh, there's a little bit left. So it's that idea that you will always use everything that's available. And so if you put your expenses before profit, you will spend it all because it's available. You won't leave it for profit. So the idea is you pull profit first, then pay the government, then pay your expenses. And it's just a different way of looking. And now I can log into my bank account and I have a better idea of what I have. It's definitely not as good as looking at your bookkeeping, but I do know that money that's set in the government in the remittances piece, I can't touch that. That's not income I can use.
Well, that's a very healthy habit.
So that's
People
good to
should
know.
do that, yeah.
And this is about a year ago that I read this book and adopted it. And it is a habit forming thing that takes some time to get used to. And it is kind of the Band-Aid solution to the real solution, which is just look at your books better.
Know your
but
numbers.
it's so easy to just look at your bank account balance and see the big number and be like, wow, we can definitely go buy this for the office when 90% of that money is accounted for the government and
see,
whatever
it's
else.
so hard for me to wrap my brain around. Like, I get what you're saying and I see how it worked for you and I know how it worked for another company.
Yeah.
But because for 20 years I've been looking at the income statements and the budgets, it's like you're not allowed to spend the money that's in your account. It's allocated for this expense, taxes, and this.
So it doesn't matter what the bank account says.
So we plan it all out. We have one bank account. We hit our revenue goal. We spend the money we said we would. We have the profit left.
Yeah.
So that's why at first I was like, Lane, that book sucks.
Yeah.
But you know what? I went back and read it again. And I totally think it's intelligent and smart because there are so many people who don't want to do things my way.
I think
it fixes.
Yeah.
It's a fix.
It's a good first step towards doing it better. It's not, and it's kind of like.
It's not as bad as doing nothing.
Yeah. Like my wife is a fitness coach and trainer and stuff. And she just brought on a new client this week. And she's like, I'm not going to give you the nutrition side this week. I'm just going to give you very vague suggestions of things you could change because I'm going to give you all these workouts too, and I don't want to overwhelm you with all these things you need to change. So it's kind of like it's the baby step to get them towards the goal eventually. And I feel like Profit First is something you could do for a year or two that's going to help you get on the path, because it transformed my business. And you could have told me every day that I need to check my P&Ls and I need to look at the books and do that more often, but it was that step that helped me take the leap towards I am actually pulling profit out of my business now, not just running, using every expense. And it's not that we needed to. It was just like, yeah, of course I need a new lens for the camera. Of course I need, let's buy a new office chair. It was dumb stuff. I could have been running a business I could pull profit out of, but I was basically using it because it's all sitting in expenses, and
that's because you
I
look
could
at
just
your
pay
bank
it.
account all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the worst. If you just look at your bank account and you're like, oh, good, it's going up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. You have troubles.
Yeah.
It's, So obviously knowing your financials. Okay. Profit first, or.
So what does knowing your financials mean? What numbers do you need to know? You listed
making a projection for your income, your expenses, and your profit.
Mm-hmm.
And then every month looking at your income statement and putting that in there beside your goal. So if your goal was 100,000 this month, how much did you sell?
Yeah.
If you didn't hit that goal, what's the problem? Is your lead conversion too low? Is the number of leads coming into your business too low? Other problems that would indicate lack of sales. Oh, are your salespeople not hitting their KPIs? Then your expenses, if you go over on expenses, obviously you overspent, you spent more than you planned to spend somewhere. So you need to go look at that, see if it's a mistake or if it's something that you can make sure doesn't happen again. And then profit, why are we doing this if there is no profit, right? So if you don't hit that profit goal, you need to really examine that. We use the budget as the basic first number one tool. Make a financial plan and then try to hit it. And when we don't hit it, we go line by line through the financials till we find out why.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go fix that thing, usually with a procedure. So that's what I would mean by knowing your financials. One step further would be knowing the margins, the gross profit margin, the gross profit divided by the revenue as a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at that as a percentage, you can compare it like apples to apples with another number.
Yeah.
But if you're my goal is 100 grand revenue and 70,000 gross profit, and you hit 120 and you have 81 gross profit, you don't know if you hit your goal or not, in my opinion.
Right.
Unless you divide the gross profit numbers by the revenue
get your margin.
Compare the percentages.
So how recently can you look at those numbers? Because by the nature of bookkeeping, it has to be kept up to date.
Yep.
So are you at say December 1st, are you looking at November 1st to November, till end of month, or are you doing it allowing 2 weeks to get all the bookkeeping caught up, or are you allowing 3 months and you're looking back on a rotating?
I'm sorry, I'm so distracted. This chair is so hard to keep it sitting up.
Oh,
Did
you can
do
put
something
this
to
thing
it?
in here.
It's I feel like I'm gonna fall backwards.
Fix it.
Is it
Push
fixed?
the little. No, I did mine. It's on your side.
My side?
You just push it
Sorry,
in towards
guys.
the middle,
Push it in.
and it'll lock.
Oh, Paul,
There
so
you go.
much better.
It'll
Sorry,
flop
what
back.
were you saying?
How recent do you look at those
yes.
numbers?
Okay, I got
Is it the ones that ended yesterday, or is it revolving on months old data?
It depends how amazing you are. So actually I can take that back. I could hurt some clients' feelings with that, but there is erase what I just said. It's live. Oh no.
Bleep.
Okay.
Rewind.
There are different scenarios, so we always do our best to look at them as quickly as possible. So in some businesses, the usual longest time I will let them wait for their bookkeeping is the 15th of the following month.
Right.
Because if you could get all your stuff from November on November 30th, that would be ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But even better than that is looking before the month ends, looking, every day at what's your revenue so far, and what is your revenue as a percentage of your revenue goal for the month?
Mm-hmm.
And then how many days into the month are you divided by how many days you're open?
Right.
So every single day you could look at how you're doing for revenue and expenses.
Right.
That's only if it's getting entered into your bookkeeping software.
I had a client come in today, and I'm not a business coach, so I don't usually get to see this stuff, but he knew off the top of his head. He's like, yeah, our revenue is up 30% more than last month, and we still have several days left in the month. And he knew separately, revenue versus number of purchases versus number of customers who made up those purchases. He's just here's all the data.
I love
and I'm
this
just
man.
oh, cool. That's good for us too, because obviously our marketing is working, and the fact that you grew
Awesome.
30% revenue this month over last. So,
Awesome.
but
Awesome.
that is very useful stuff. But then you obviously are not doing it based on, it's not cash accounting then, because
No.
I have invoices, and like one month might literally look like double the revenue of the last one,
Yeah.
because based on when the invoices are paid, right?
So if you're doing cash accounting, when the money changes hands is when that dollar value will show up in the statement. So if you collect all your accounts receivable in October, looks like you had a good October. But
Mhm.
most people's accounting is accrual based. So if the
Yeah.
date of the invoice is October 1st, it shows up as revenue on October 1st.
Yeah.
Even if you get paid in November. I wanted to say one more thing about that, but now I forget. What were you saying about the Oh yeah, so most clients get their financials by the 15th of the following month and then update their actual columns, and then they look at the month, the goal, and then what actually happened, and then we look at the year-to-date goal, so
Yeah.
all the months added up together, and then what actually happened, because
Mhm.
sometimes you have a bad month, but you're still on track for the year.
Mhm.
And now today, we just completed a really, really crazy awesome process with one of my clients and another one of my clients, because one of my clients does the accounting for my other client. And they have figured out a way to in-house enter expenses daily, because they deal with a lot of expenses,
Okay.
a lot of
volume.
buying and
Okay.
selling, and invoice daily as well for their projects. So they can look at real time what their P&L is
Right.
at any point.
Nice.
It's brilliant. It's beautiful. Then they look at their budget and they're like, how are we doing? How are we doing? Oh, we better pick it up, you know?
Mhm.
And I have another client who's really, really smart, and she started doing this one thing. This one thing I believe changed everything for her. First, we calculated her break even. How
Mhm.
much does it cost to keep this place running for a day? That was staggering, just like with wages and electricity and part of the rent, you know? And so then she made that goal. Never again will I sell less than that in a day.
Right.
And then from there, she started taking her monthly revenue goal and dividing it into each of the days of the month
Mhm.
on a calendar. It's a big calendar.
Right.
So every day has a daily revenue goal. And every day she writes up beside the goal what actually happened.
Nice.
And then every week she readjusts. So if she didn't hit the first week, she adds it into the second week. So just looking at those numbers every day, gosh, that's powerful. She's been doing, she's just been growing like crazy. So looking at your revenue for sure, but
Mhm.
also looking at your expenses
the
to
pieces.
maintain them. Because like you said,
Yeah.
if you think like that, yeah, you're right. You have money, so you'll spend it.
My pushback, the only piece is, I think for a small business, I think there's efficiency in not updating the invoices and the receipts and the expenses day by day. There's efficiency in bulk, like
Totally
batch
agree.
doing things.
Totally
So I
agree.
mean, if I have to enter 20 receipts, it's going to take me 10 times as long to enter them one day and one the next day and one the next day, compared to I'll wait until the 30th and do all my receipts. Like, it's just
Yeah.
an efficiency thing.
I agree with you. So in most cases, I agree with you. This particular business has I think they said hundreds of bills a week.
Right.
So that was a special case.
Yeah.
But you're right. At the end of the month, take all your receipts or put all your receipts on your phone, like in Receipt
Yep.
Bank, give them to your accountant, and make sure that you get your numbers by the 15th of the following month.
So at least once a month, do the batch.
At least.
Don't do the receipts at once a year.
Don't do the shoebox or the bag full of
The amount of,
receipts.
like, before I went back to school, I was in the trades, and I had a renovation company, I had a painting company, I've done other things, and the amount of times, or how standard that is for smaller companies, obviously not the big construction companies, but for the amount of roofers and fencers and renovators and flooring guys and all these like little companies, they are not bookkeepers, they're doers, they have a craft, they have a skill, and they want to enter their receipts annually maybe, or their invoice, like entering all the invoices all at once. I mean, I have an invoice that someone's been asking me for like 3 weeks. I'm like, I keep forgetting to send it to you, and I just need to actually do it. But yeah, I feel
let's
like,
talk about that. Accounts receivable. That's another really good, important
Yeah.
number to look at, because some people are struggling with cash flow. And my first question is, what's your accounts receivable at? They're like, what do you mean? Well, there's a report
right,
called
how
accounts
much
receivable.
is
Pull it up. Let's
outstanding,
see it.
right? Yeah.
So it shows, $80,000 is overdue 30 days.
Mhm.
Another
Yeah.
$100,000 is overdue 60 days, and another 200,000 is overdue over 90 days. So you are paying interest on your line of credit, your credit cards. You're not paying your bills because there's like $300,000 out there that's owed to you.
Owed to you, yeah.
So you just need to process. Look at the number, follow up, get paid, or get paid up front. That's way smarter.
Really?
Yes.
Well, we can fight on that.
In any case.
I wouldn't. I can't. In good conscience, I can't do it. I don't ask for money until people are very happy with what we've done.
This is going to be a whole new episode.
Okay.
But I do love that. I love that that way of thinking. That's a nice way to think. I do tell my clients always to ask if they're happy before they send the invoice.
Which is hard to do if you haven't done any work yet.
Yeah. KPIs.
I knew that would come into it.
Yeah, for sure. Like giving your staff key performance indicators that are numbers, like actual measurable. Like for you, if it was your job to do business development, maybe I would give you a goal of 100 leads a month and a 50% conversion rate.
Right.
Those would be your KPIs. And every month we'd look at them together and we'd say, how can we do this better?
I think it's really important to think of those, to like really troubleshoot how those could possibly be gamed, kind of, because I like this. We have to do this in marketing a lot, where someone will say, well, this is my KPI, this is the most important thing, but it's like, I can game that and get you that number. Like, it's just too easy.
Tell us more about this.
Well, if you're like, so with our biggest, like not our biggest, but our most prominent social account, someone like PokerStars that we manage all their social, it's really important for them to get a volume of engagements. That's important to them. But so I said, is that your number one KPI? Because like, I can change my strategy if that's all that's important to you. Because I'm just going to post 6 times a day, and it doesn't matter that I get extremely reducing engagement rate each time I post, right? Because they all start cannibalizing each other, and you're not going to get the same engagement on post 6 as you did on post 1. So I'm like, I can get volume of engagements up there. I'm just going to post 6 times a day and you will see engagements go up. Is that actually what you want? Well, of course, no, it's not. They're gonna be like, well, no, that's not what we want. So there's like so many ways of gaming.
You
know what I mean?
I thought you were like,
mean gamify,
I'm gonna
make it fun.
Game
no,
so
no.
it'll be fun.
I mean,
and then you're just like, I can dispute that.
No, I mean,
no, dislike.
You have to like
down.
solve. You need a suite of KPIs that can't be hacked.
Yes.
Basically.
There's this paper that we had to read in university. It's like the folly of expecting A while rewarding B. And it's all,
Shaken.
It's all about like, if you give a sales guy a goal.
Right.
You have to come up with that other goal to keep him reined in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to be doing all sorts of unethical things to achieve just that one goal.
So if you're like, just give me 100 leads, and he's like, yeah, okay, if I'm low, I'm just going to go find someone in the alley and I'll put his name down. Like, you have to make a suite of KPIs so that you can't hack it.
Yeah.
If you have one KPI, I don't care what it is, there's a way to hack it and get you the result without really getting you what you're wanting for that number.
Yes.
So in the way that engagement is not a good single KPI, it needs to be met with engagement rate and engaged users. And
anywhere from 1 to 5.
Yeah.
Usually 3. But yeah, make sure that you build them too. And if you have a great, honest, awesome team, they should help you build those KPIs. And they'll say something like you did. But couldn't I just like screw with the system to hit this number? And you'd be like, thank you for saying that. Let's fix that.
Yeah, but you have to, you don't, it's not like you're thinking the worst of your employees, but you have to imagine, how could I hack this and make this number magically appear without doing the meaningful thing it intends to do in spirit?
Yeah, make sure the KPI achieves the goal that you want to achieve. Like, if everyone achieves their KPIs, you should achieve your strategic objectives and your financial goals.
Right. That's not for me.
Gosh, if you,
it was not
I
me.
will kill. I cannot get sick again. I will not get sick again. I am healthy. Oh no, I forgot my new mantra. It's supposed to keep me healthy.
What KPIs do you have for yourself?
For myself?
Yeah. Do you set KPIs for yourself?
Revenue, gross profit, net profit.
Okay.
And with my new business partner, they're the same.
That's interesting.
His are staff happiness. And
I was
sales.
gonna say those are all completely revenue based.
Yeah, so when you read Rocket Fuel, because I know
Yep.
you will, because you're a good friend, and you made me read that stupid
Devin told me it
Profit
was a very
First
quick
book
read
again.
too. So
Good, it's awesome.
'Kay.
You'll see that you're a visionary and I'm an
the
integrator.
visionary and the integrators.
And Ryan, my new partner, is the grand visionary. Like this book was written about him. And so he loves the people, the experience. His customer service is insane.
Mhm.
He has like, we're gonna create a training program so that we're gonna have a whole bunch of people talking, walking, doing exactly like him, because he is such a good people person. He does the big business development deals. He's the face of the company.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's crunch the numbers. Let's make this thing more profitable.
That's what makes good partners.
Perfect partners.
Complementary.
Rocket fuel. You'll love it.
Yeah.
But the point there was, oh yes, let's talk about KPIs again still.
Okay.
Laura, poor Laura, she does such a good job. And we ask her to do so many things.
This is Kelly Ray's assistant.
Actually, her title is
Sorry.
Online and Administrative Coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah. But she just prefers to tell people she's my assistant sometimes
Okay.
because it's much easier to say.
So I didn't assign her
This is
a
Kelly's
title.
assistant. No.
Okay.
So that poor girl has KPIs about online sales.
Okay.
And they're not really going yet. So I'm a very optimistic girl, and I'm not, I know you don't become like a worldwide, $1 million online course selling business coach in 2 months. But I'm very optimistic. So with Laura and I, we set some goals. We're like, we'll sell this many courses this month, this many courses this month. And because she does so much of our social media and she's killing it, don't you think?
Yeah, she does well.
I feel like she has some power over that goal.
Sure.
But there's a problem. She doesn't have all the power over it. And if you give people a goal that they don't feel like they can achieve it, or it won't be worth it, they probably won't. So we need to sit down and revisit those, because it's really not in her control. All the stuff that you're doing with modifying and tweaking and testing and,
Yeah.
she can't.
That's not something she can control.
No, yeah. So just make sure that they can do it and they feel like it's worth it.
Okay.
Do we need to give them some more examples of numbers of KPIs?
Numbers of KPIs? No. I think it's clear. It's tough to give hypotheticals about what they could be, because it's so dependent on your business and what's important.
Any number that makes you successful.
However you define that.
Yeah.
Because for me, if my revenue grew, or even my margin grew or profit grew, but all the other things that are important to me suffered, I would not be success to me.
I agree.
Like, I will take a decrease in profit if it means my employees come to work smiling and aren't looking forward to Friday.
You hacked. I know you have you somehow hack my notes every time. I know you do, because on here I have staff happiness scores and customer happiness scores.
How much do you trust self-reported staff happiness scores?
When it's anonymous, I think that
you have one employee.
Oh, no, not in TMH.
Okay.
At Shoe Solutions.
Okay.
But also all the other businesses I work with.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. You need an anonymous suggestion box in your office.
Oh, Laura, how do you feel about me today? No, she's just pretty straightforward. We meet every month. But we do an anonymous like SurveyMonkey or Google form.
Yeah.
And I feel like they lie by about 1 point. That's usually my experience.
Okay.
And if people are an 8 or higher, that's good. But if they're a 7, that means they're a 6 and they're looking.
Right.
Yeah. So that's been my experience. Also the Net Promoter Score is pretty good for customers.
Yeah.
And the way that they have the detractors.
Can you explain that for the people at home?
Do you want to pull it up? Because I can't.
Sure. Let's find it.
I'm pretty sure that 1 to 5 are detractors, 6, 7 are neutral, and 8, 9, 10 are pluses.
Okay. What are we looking at?
This is said to be like the best, the most important. Here it is.
You just want to see this graphic, or do you want the?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Or any of these. Okay.
So this is the Net Promoter Score, and this has been, at least in my university courses, touted as the most important question you can ask your clients. This used to really piss me off, though, because we use this at a beta, and they use this to score me, like my staff did.
Okay.
So if I have like some great ones, but then I have some passive ones, and then I have detractors, they take away from my so I wouldn't get a good score if anybody
Okay.
didn't like me. I
Right.
had a lot of staff. And I'm a better leader now. I wasn't the best then. But yeah, most times people will use this with clients, but you can also use it with employees. So if out of 10, they're a 9 or a 10, like let's say on the happiness scale,
Yep.
they're promoters. That's plus. You get 2 points for that. Then if they're passives, that's a wash.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Neutral.
And then if you have detractors, like if you have like any of those numbers,
haters.
those take away from your, yeah.
1 each.
Yeah.
2 points for promoters, -1 for detractors. Is that how it works?
I don't
Or
know.
it's however
I
you
don't
want to
know.
score your business.
I don't actually know because I've never seen this graphic before, and I've never actually seen the times 100 there before either.
Yeah, I mean, however you want to calculate it, just do it consistently, right? There's
Yeah,
no
but I
like,
don't-
this is how.
I don't love this though. I
Okay.
just love the 1 to 10. How happy are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
And
we're back.
and how likely are you to recommend us? That's a very important question for clients.
We do this in for PokerStars anyways for social media marketing, just because we have a software for them that allows us to do it. But we do sentiment tracking because that's very important. You can get a ton of comments, but if it's all people complaining and saying you're awful, it's not a great thing to get, right? So we do sentiment tracking, and literally every reply and every interaction that people have with any of our social channels, which is a lot, this is very large accounts, we score them, and the software we use has an AI, and it helps predict it pretty accurately, but we still have to manually just check them over quick. But we will score every interaction with positive, negative, or neutral or negative. Positive, neutral, negative. And that goes into my reporting weekly and monthly, is what is our percentage of positive over negative
Really cool.
expressed as how people talk about us on social media.
It's cool to
Which
start
is
seeing
interesting.
AI working like that.
Yeah, and so it takes keywords and it learns, because it's like, oh, when they said this word, you actually marked it as positive. I thought that was a negative word, but it's like, well, no, in the kind of jargon or the way they talk in the context, that didn't really make it negative, just because
This makes it so
they
much
said
more
kill
sense.
and they're like, oh, negative, and but it's like, no, what they said was I'm killing it, and it's like, that's a positive thing. So it learns and it figures out what should be positive and negative and neutral.
Oh, TD Canada
Yeah.
Trust. Now I understand you. This happened to me on
Why?
Facebook. It was just like, what? How is? It was such a confusing conversation. I was like
Was it
trying
like
to
a
get
bot
this.
or what?
It must have been, but it was acting like a person.
Right.
But it was doing things like you said. Like, it sounded like. So there was something on my credit. When you pull your credit report,
Yeah.
you can see what you have on there just to make sure there's no fraud or whatever.
Are you supposed to do that
There
too?
was some.
I'm
You should
joking.
probably do that. There's a TD. Maybe we should next podcast should be how to be an adult. So there's a TD thing on my
I'm not
credit report
invited.
that should not be on there. So
Okay.
I was trying to get a hold of them, and I think I waited on the phone forever and never got through. So then I wrote on their Facebook wall. Oh no, I couldn't write on their Facebook wall, which I thought was stupid.
Okay.
Because I knew that would get their attention. So then I messaged them on Facebook, and I just said, hey, this is really frustrating. I've been trying to deal with this forever, da 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 da. And then I think I said something nice at the end, like, could you please, please, please help me? And it must have taken
You
that.
triggered something.
Thank you so much for your, we're glad to hear you're happy. I was like, what?
Oh,
happy?
right. So it's a bot. that-
Incredibly
yeah.
not happy. Yeah.
It's a chat bot.
That was my last
you
experience
program.
with AI.
Yeah,
so.
we have built chatbots, and there's things like that you need to imagine all the possible responses and not give them something incredibly inappropriate or not what they would expect, because people engage in unpredictable ways, which is where bots can fail. All
Why
right.
am I coughing, Lane?
It's not my fault. That's all I can tell you.
I know how to choke people out, right?
Your husband does. I don't know if you can.
I do. He taught me.
KPIs, finances, marketing numbers,
Client satisfaction.
client satisfaction,
Employee
employee
happiness.
satisfaction.
Return on investment
How-
for marketing spend.
How much do you need to put a number to that? I've never polled my employees on what do you feel, how are you enjoying your job, other than like literally asking them that and being like, how are things going for you? Is there anything I can do to help? And I have just anecdotal
awesome.
responses.
That's awesome. At
I
this
don't have a
size.
number.
It's not scalable though. Like when you're massive, if you get massive,
Spend
you're
every
gonna
day
spend every minute
just
just being like,
going
how's it
for
going?
coffee with
You're gonna
people.
get so sick of that. How's it
It's my
going?
dream job.
So
every
return on
day.
investment. That's important. Cost per customer acquired.
Mm-hmm.
cost per lead. So with these, you really have to make sure that you're tracking before you can actually look at these numbers. Make sure you're tracking where all your leads are coming from and all your clients are coming from, so that you can see however much you spent on like Facebook or radio, or not radio. What am I saying? Probably Facebook or LinkedIn or
They don't
Instagram.
want you to calculate ROI on radio because
there is none.
Put them out of business.
So that was mean. I'm sorry. It's true though. So cost per customer would be like the amount you spent to get on Facebook, the amount you spent on Facebook to get 10 customers. So that number divided by 10. That's your cost per customer. And same for cost per lead. And then I really think conversion rate's a number that people do not look at enough.
Yeah.
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 Like the leaky bucket thing. Like,
Your funnel's a sieve kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like you really need to convert more leads before you put more leads into your bucket.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And some people are like, no, just spend money on
Just
marketing.
pour more money in there.
No, just be better on the inside. Follow up more. Be better.
Especially a small business in a small city. Like we're in a city of 100,000 people. You have a finite pool of customers and you could burn through them, pouring them into your leaky bucket funnel. Like you need to optimize that thing to convert as many people as possible, because you can exhaust the market here without a lot of ad spend. Like especially if you're in some sort of niche product, there maybe is 5,000 potential customers in this city, right?
Great point. Kate, you have to calculate this. You have to calculate demand for your product.
How do we calculate demand for your product?
Well, let's say you want to launch a new company or a new service or whatever. Hopefully it's relatively low risk, like low startup cost, first of all. But if you have to do your research. Like if your target area is like a brick and mortar store, not an online store, and let's say 120,000 people in the surrounding area, right? And then you find a statistic online for how many people have dogs.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Even better,
what?
Use Google Survey.
What?
Because it's like a buck a response, and you can just ask the questions, and you tell Google, and they go find people to answer that, and you can do your own market research. So you can say, okay, ask everyone in Alberta or everyone in Calgary or whatever, and you ask them these 8 questions, and it's going to help me know if there's a demand for my product or whatever. And it's a buck a response, unless you add some other qualifying questions and stuff, then it's more auction based. But it's like a buck a response, and you can do your own market research.
Google is so smart.
Google's.
Oh my gosh.
I always discover new Google tools that I'm like, what?
Let me tell you the cheap way. So you Google statistics, percentage of people who are dog owners.
Right.
And then it's probably going to be an American statistic.
Sure.
But just overlay it onto the Lethbridge population. If that's the best you can do, let's say 40% of people own dogs.
Yeah.
And take the 40%, overlay it onto the 120 population. What is that? 4,800 people?
You want me to do math?
48,000 people?
It is 48,000 people.
48,000 people. So then now you know that the total possible market for you is 48,000 people that have dogs that might buy dog food from you.
Right.
That's a simple example, but...
And then how many competitors are in the space and all this stuff.
How big of a piece of the pie do you think you can get? What percentage of people
like way more conservative
brand?
than you think. You see you watch Dragon's Den and everyone's like, it's a $12 billion industry. If we just got 1%, you're like, you're going to get 0.00001% in reality. Like, come on.
I can't watch that show. They're so mean.
I enjoy it a lot. My wife does not. So it's when she's at the gym or she's sleeping or something.
Joss, I got you.
My dream is to someday be on that show. I'm going to someday build a business. It's not my dream, but it's a goal and something I would really enjoy. I'm going to build a business for the sake of going on Dragon's Den one day, because my current business is not a Dragon's Den candidate. No one's going to invest in my marketing company. Service companies are not very investable.
I think you're doing great.
Yeah, but I don't think they would laugh me out of there.
So... Quick tip.
Oh yeah, are we on there?
I think so. I'm very tired.
It's like I'm out.
It feels like Friday already.
Can you go first?
Sure.
Oh, you have it.
Did you get that link for me?
Yep, it's in the notes on the YouTubes.
Okay, in the notes underneath this video somewhere in the description, there is a link to a free scorecard. What did we call it?
It's just the monthly. No, it's the 10-minute scorecard.
10-minute scorecard. So it's my 20 years of running, studying, coaching businesses, the most important numbers I think that you should start with every month. And so I know there's a ton of overwhelming numbers out there. So just start with these 10 or these 5. So yeah, it's like kind of like a worksheet, and it's free, and it's in the link, so you guys can all have it.
Yeah,
that's my quick tip.
That's a quick tip is go down
and read it and then use it every month.
And download it.
Yeah.
Okay. What's my quick tip? My quick tip, I think I already gave it away when we were talking about everything else. My quick tip is know your ratios of which things are happening, not the volume number. So it just takes a little bit more math, and it's the kind of number that doesn't necessarily get spit out from your Facebook Insights or your... Well, Google will give you some of that. It's nice. You can see your conversion rate and things like that. But find that rate, that number, the number that shows up as a percentage. That's what you want. You don't want the bulk number of visitors, the whatever. It's what is your percentage? Your rates are the ones that are important.
To financials. Okay?
Right, with margin and
ratios,
everything.
yeah.
I think, because it tells more of the story. Because just the bulk number doesn't really give you enough context. It's that compared to this. Now you're looking at two things and how they have a relationship with each other. Yeah. So conversion rates and all of those engagement rates, reach rates, all of that stuff is what you want to look at. And then look at some industry averages, because those kind of things, it's easier to compare, right? I can't say, well, is it good for me to have 1,000 followers compared to what? What benchmark do you compare that against? But if you want to say, what's the average reach rate of social media? What's the average conversion rate on a e-commerce page? Those are numbers you can compare against, because now you've kind of standardized it. Get to know that, and you will likely learn that your reach rate is a lot better than the industry average, because it's awful.
Your quick tip is a long tip.
The quick tip needs to be shortened. And I already said it once, so I repeated it.
We're going to be 20 minutes?
Oh, that was ages ago.
50 minutes. Okay.
No wonder you're tired.
Yeah.
Okay, next week, 7:15 p.m. Mountain Time on the YouTubes at bit.ly/Better Business Podcast. That's where they can find us.
Please give us some suggestions.
Yeah, topic
we're
suggestions.
We're going to share this now, right?
Yeah, we can put a link to this video.
And then we'll say, give us some suggestions.
Okay, we can ask for suggestions.
And apology to anyone who's waiting for our podcast to be uploaded. There's a little glitch. Lane's going to fix it tonight.
We're going to look at it.
They're going to be all on there. Because people are like, hello, you haven't done an episode in 6 weeks.
But we have. Go to YouTube. Go to YouTube. You're
going to have a whole weekend full of podcasts.
So follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube, so you'll get a little notification, because I'll set it up ahead of time, and it'll say, we're going live at 7:15, and then you can get a notification.
In that voice, does it say
Yeah, I wish. And then subscribe if you're doing the audio version. Wherever you listen to podcasts, please subscribe.
Oh, no. I just realized that I think I'm funny, and that's what I make fun of Tim for doing. Did you see I chuckled at my own joke, and you didn't even know?
You have to. Trying to keep the show going.
Are we telling them where to find us?
Yeah. Where do they find you?
What? I forgot what that new one is called.
You have a new one?
No, we both do.
What?
The video one with the dancing.
TikTok. How can you forget?
No, I haven't put too much time in there. I should for Shoe Solutions. I need to make a note.
I mean, it'd be fun, but I don't think there's an enormous amount of ROI in it at the moment. But
we're going to.
In the meantime,
I need to write this
people
down.
Can follow me on Instagram.
Yes, thank you.
At the real Lane Anderson. And since we're talking about TikTok, you can find me there too, but it's just me being a dorky dad.
I'm gonna go watch that.
LinkedIn, I'm becoming more and more. I'm just posting daily to LinkedIn. So find me there, Lane Anderson, and Twitter, Lane_Anderson. That's where you find me.
So confusing. I am just Kelly Ray Tamaki, and I am just TMH Business Coaching and Consulting. All the places. Wait, Instagram is Kelly Ray Tamaki, TMH.
Okay.
And we're on Facebook.
And there's those are written down below in the description as well if you need to find us.
How handy.
All right, thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.